Hello, what's up guys? This is Brian and today I'm going to talk to you about Microsoft SQL Server Management Studio 2014 and how to use that to import data from a flat file into a table, and then we'll run some SQL query statements on it to filter the data and then export that data out to a flat file. We'll start with a simple example, and then later after that we'll do a more advanced example. So first let's create a little data file. If you have a text document, and we'll just call it input data. Okay, and if you open that, so we could do multiple names. So this would be like record 1, it could be like Bob, and then Bob's first name is, or last name is, I don't know, Smith, and then his date, which would be 1981, March 2nd. And then we could do another name. But actually I prepared some data here, so I'm just going to copy this. Okay. So, but if you guys want to, I'll go ahead and zoom in here for you so you can type this. Just make sure you type, this is comma delimited, and there's a space here. And we'll put a time and then just hit enter. So I'll let you go ahead and enter this data. And then when you're done entering this, you're going to come over here and you're just going to hit save. Okay. Alright. So just make sure that's in input data, and it is. Okay. So today we're going to use Microsoft SQL Server 2014. Go ahead and let that connect. And go ahead and click over here, check our databases. I have a database here that I created. You can create a database just by right-clicking database and clicking new database. And it's pretty simple. You give it a name. You can change the size of your primary in your log file. I just kept it the same, so let's hit cancel. Okay, so I created this database Nexus, and we'll take a look at the tables. There's a couple of tables in here. So the first job is to create a new query. So how I did that was I just right click on it and then click new query, and that'll bring this up. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we'll just go ahead and type use Nexus and go. So that's the name of our Nexus. Go. So that's the name of our database that we're using. We're already connected down here, so it doesn't matter for us. But if we were to come back, we could connect the statements that we're going to put in here. This just tells it we're going to use this database. So anyways, so the next thing we need to do is we need to create a table. So to create a table, it's just simply you type the keyword create table, and we'll call this test input. And we could call it anything. It doesn't have to be the same name as our data. So let's just go ahead and look at our data again. Test data. Okay, so we have an int. This 1, 2, 3, 4. Those are integers. We have a first name, a last name, and then a date. Okay, so we're gonna do record. It's going to be type int. Then we're going to do first name. I don't know why I always just put first name. And that's going to be a character. We don't want to do a varchar because these aren't going to be changing. So I'll just put varchar 20. And if you have any names that are bigger than 20 characters, it would truncate it unless you use a varchar. Or you could make this bigger. I think you could make this 30 if you wanted to. Last, so we'll do last name char 20, and then we're going to do a I'll just put record date, and that's going to be a small date time. And that's all we need for that. Right, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, very good. Okay, so that's all we need. Now, small date time, there's a lot of different data types that you can use in SQL for dates. But this one's good. It's accurate to the second, I believe. And we don't really need any more accuracy than that. But there's other ones like that are accurate to the millisecond that we could have used there. And okay, so after we create this table, let's go ahead and run it. So to run things, you just highlight it and then hit execute. So that just created. See, it says command successfully created, so that's good. And if we come over here and right click this and hit refresh, we'll see our test input table was created, so that's good. So next thing we're going to do, I'm going to add a comment here. So this is where we'll do a bulk insert data into SQL table from CSV file. Or actually, we're doing a text file from txt file. It's just comma delimited text file. Okay. So yeah, why don't I put that down? So yeah, that's good enough. So if you want to insert a comment, it's just 2 minus signs for a comment. The other way is you could do backslash star, and then you just have to close with a backslash. See? So that's the other way you can add comments. Okay, so now we want to bring in our data into this table that we just created. We're going to do a bulk insert, and it's the test input table. From, and then let's go see where it's from. So go to desktop, and we right click, go to properties. So that's where it's from. Input data.txt. Okay, so it's from, we have to put this in a single quote, and then put a slash, and then it was data test data.txt. So go ahead and open that again. Or no, it was input, sorry. Input data.txt. Okay, now we need to next tell it what kind of data we're going to import. So we need to add a field delimiter and a field terminator and a row terminator. So you just do a field terminator command, and we're using commas, but we could have used tabs instead, and it would have been just a backspace T for that. Next, our row terminator is end of line character, and we're getting this. It doesn't like this because we should have added a comma there. Okay, so go ahead and run this and bring in our data. Alright, so it says 4 rows affected. So we had 4 rows. Now let's go ahead and take a look at our data. So check the data in the table. So we'll just do a select all or star statement from test. See, it's already there. Test input. And then we're going to do an order by statement, so we can order it by the record. So let's go ahead and take a look at our data. And there's our data. Now, let's say we didn't want all the data. Let's say we wanted just Sergi Brin and Richard Stallman. Well, we could do an order by, whoops, let me put that back. Instead of a select star, what we'll do is we'll add a where statement, where record is between 2 and 3. So now we'll just get these 2 columns if we run it. And if we want to export this, you could just click there and then go to save results, or you can right click and hit select all, and then right click and then go to save results as, and then we'll just say this is our output data. We can save it as a CSV or a text file. Save it as a CSV. It's nice to bring into Excel. So I went ahead and did that. Let's find our, here's our output data. So if we just open that, we can open that in Excel. Okay. So there you go. There you have it. Now we're going to get into some more advanced operations. So I had a question. Somebody was asking me, how could we take some data from a weather station and filter it based on wind direction, all the data. So so we're going to go into that. Before I do that, I just want to show you guys something. A good resource for SQL is w3schools.com. If you go over to Learn SQL, there's all kinds of examples. So like here, this is showing a select statement, and you can try it and run it, and it'll show you. It's free to use, and it's a good place to learn SQL. Of course, obviously Microsoft. You can download and learn SQL as well from their website. Okay, so now if, let's say you have some weather data. Okay. And here's a weather data in Excel. It's a lot of columns, a a lot of data. The first thing that you're going to want to do is highlight this and make sure the date is a small date number for Excel. So you'll go into custom, and let's take a look at our Excel file here. So see how it's year, month, day, hour. So you want to do it like that. So you'd say year, month, day, hour, minute, second. Okay? That's it. That's all you need to do. The other thing is do a Control F and look for any infinite values. And there isn't any. So that's good. Oh, there is. So you want to replace those with a 0. Okay, because Excel, it's not set up to handle infinite values. Okay, so you want to replace those with zeros. Next, you want to come here and you want to save it as a txt file. So we'll do a tab delimited txt file. You click save. When you do that, you'll get a file that looks like this. So here's our data, it's tab delimited. Okay. So if we go into here, we'll go ahead and get rid of this. We'll start a new query. I actually have one already written, so if we go to File, Open, File, SQL Query 3. Okay. So this is exactly like the last example, but it's a little bit more in depth. If you look at this weather station data, we have a small date time, we have a record, which is an int, and the rest of these are floats because they're decimal point, the fractional values. And so they're all floats. The rest of them are just float values. And so I actually just copied and pasted the column headers in here and created this. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead and we will execute this. Oh, there's already a Nexus 1 error table. I already created it. So we can drop the table. And I'm going to go ahead and just recreate it. Okay. And now let's take a look at our table. We can use a select star from Nexus 1 error ordered by record date time. So that's what I call the table up here. Sorry guys, I'm going too fast. So it's create table, Nexus 1 error. So there shouldn't be anything in it. Yeah, it's empty. So now we need to insert it, and we're not using commas, we're using tabs now. Okay, now let's take a look at our data. So there's our data. Now, if we want to filter the data by wind direction between, actually should be 180 degrees plus or minus 45. Let me save that. So 180. So that's correct. 225 and 135. Okay, so let's change that. Okay, So now we can filter based on wind direction between 135 and 225. So we'll execute that. And we have 58 rows. I think there was 190 to begin with. And then if we want to export this, we can select all, save as, and we'll just call it Nexus 1 year 180 wind. Where'd it go? Let me try that again. Oh, went in my documents. Okay, and there's our file. Alright, well, I hope you found this informative and useful for importing and exporting using bulk insert with Microsoft SQL Server 2014. Thank you, and bye guys. Till next time.